Caricom government should pursue opportunities to create linkages between tourism and the creative industries to move regional integration forward. But at least one businessman believes economic integration as envisioned at the inception of the regional movement is not attainable. And he's here with us this morning. He's the Chief Executive Officer of Separate and Bryden's Group of Companies, Mr. Richard Pandohoy. Morning, sir. Welcome to Smile Jamaica.
Morning, Evo. Morning, Simsim.
Morning. Good to see you.
I don't know how long I've heard Caricom this, Caricom that we're supposed to have free travel. You're supposed to just get up and ride, go and St. Vincent if you want and go anywhere.
As they did during the Cricket World Cup.
and it's not happening, really. Even the Court of Justice, we can't agree on that. So before we get specific, which is why you're here, give me, what's Caricom doing though? What's the overall view here? What's going on?
It's interesting you said that because you say you hear about it, but when I talk to my children and young people, they don't have a clue to what Caricom is, right? Let's start from there. So, But Caricom was originally set up to create an economic space because we're small states. I mean, we feel big, all we feel big, but we're small. And if you're going to compete in this global economy and find your way, small states are at a distinct disadvantage. So the premise of Caricom was to mitigate our small state by working together. That was the whole point.
Align and leverage.
Align and leverage. A simple way, that was what it's supposed to be. And it started just with the four larger countries, as you know, Trinidad, Barbados, Jamaica, etc. And then the other countries came along. So it's 15 states and 5 member states. But total combined, you have to put this in context, it's 18 million people. 11 million is from Haiti. The next one is Jamaica, 2.9. Then Trinidad at 1.5. Then you have 100,000 here, 700,000 here. So it's a smattering of states, right? And the idea was to create that integration. I mean, economic, foreign policy, functional things like climate change, disaster preparedness. So the premise of Caricom is really very solid in my mind, what it started out to do.
Our former PM, Prime Minister P.J. Patterson, recently stated that it's fallen short of its objectives because it suffers from an implementation deficit. You said while it hasn't failed, it hasn't done what it's supposed to do. So tell me what you see as the shortcomings.
Well, first of all, and you have to put yourself, people don't implement for no reason, right? So I think it's more than just an implementation deficit. I think, first of all, the basis on which you're trying to make decision is fundamentally different. So you're trying to operate as a region, but within the region you have sovereign states who have to get elected, right? Government have to get elected. So the man in Antigua, and I'm using Antigua for whatever, their decision might be good for the region, but it might not be good for Antigua. But the region not elected him to power, right? So people have to look after their own interests. And so what is happening is that the interest of the region is not sufficiently enough incentive to overcome the interests of the individual state. And that is what is really happening.
Fix it.
But then Caricom will never work.
But you'd have to fix it by you have to have one or two countries with such economic power that drives it. So Germany was that in Europe. Trinidad had that opportunity when they had the oil boom, but then they took a very selfish position, right? Trinidad literally took the oil for themselves, and Guyana probably will be the next country will have that opportunity. But, no, there's no other country. Jamaica is a poor country, right? Our GDP per capita is under 5,000 US. Everybody else, Antigua, Trinidad, everybody is at 15, 17, 18,000 US. We don't have the economic clout. We may have the cultural clout. We may have the brand clout, but we don't have the economic clout.
A while ago, Jamaica is a poor country. It really hurt my heart to hear you say it.
Yeah, but we need to accept that reality.
But you are correct. Culturally, what we have is invaluable and immeasurable, but financially we are...
If Jamaica was a person, it's a person you want to go hang with and part with. They can't pay the bill. You have to find a trainer and cut person to pay the bill for you.
The lack of progress on implementing the Caricom single market and economy is not only down to unwillingness on the part of the leaders in the region, but also due to the overly ambitious agenda that was crafted to be achieved. Those are your words.
Right.
Explain that.
Right. So what we have said, we have our similarities, our history and our culture. That's our similarities. Our differences are much more. Our differences in GDP per income, our differences in our sector. Trinidad is a manufacturing sector. Jamaica is a service sector. The others are import. This is import, right? So that difference has created an issue where the disparity is too wide. So one of the objectives of Caricom was to have a single currency.
Not going to happen.
That's not going to happen.
Yep.
So I'm just saying 50 years on, you can reset. You can say, listen, we started out this way, but we need to rejiggle this. We need that economic clout to negotiate together on foreign policy and those things. COVID was important, you know. COVID showed us that when the world back is against the wall, they look after their own. Our trading partners, the US, Canada, etc., no one never wants to send a vaccine. We would have been left on our own. And the same thing is going to happen with food security. Food is a big issue going forward. This region imports $5 billion worth of food. Jamaica is $1 billion. When it comes down, when the US short or the Canada short, you think they're going to say, oh, remember our friends in the Caribbean? You're on your own. So I think there are things that we need to definitely work together on: food security, climate change. 3 hottest days in the world last year, back to back to back.
Yep.
I mean,
Last week.
it's a real deal. Those things are negotiating foreign policy. Now, there are some good things. I mean, I was talking to Minister Samuda, I think, a few months ago. And he said that as a region, we're working well together to get funding for the region. Because the problem with our region is that we're classified by IMF and World Bank as middle-income countries, so we don't get a lot of access to funds. So you're seeing those opportunities, disaster preparedness opportunity. We're seeing opportunities where companies are moving across and investing in each other. I mean, I'm the CEO of a company in Trinidad, as well as Jamaica now. So you see Grace, you see Wisinko, you see Rainforest, you see companies, Nila Massey from Trinidad. So we need to create the enabling environment, but we need to reset based on those things. And things like single currency, nothing. But freedom of movement is to be non-negotiable.
Yeah.
What we wonder about Haiti?
God, my heart breaks for Haiti every time. You know? I mean, they have suffered non-stop. I mean, even the Caricom countries are pretending Haiti doesn't exist. So even in the latest thing with the freedom of movement, they're talking about Haiti has been excluded because of their situation. I wish we had the wherewithal where we could combine our armies, like a Caricom army, to deal with matters like these. Because Haiti don't have oil, they don't have the natural resources, so the rest of the world is not going to take any interest. They don't even make the world news. So if we can't look after our own in this time, so this to me is this shows you what Caricom is. It has no teeth, it has no backings, no backbone when it matters most. 11 million people out of the 18 million people in Caricom
are from
under siege, and we all sit and pretend it doesn't even make our papers. So I mean, my point is that if Caricom can't come forward when we need it most, why you need it? I mean, it's the average
So do we still need it? If 50 years on, we have not recalibrated, we haven't rejigged, we haven't reevaluated, we can't get the stuff done, we're not meeting the mandate.
But we need it because we don't have individually, we're too weak, we're too small. And there have been success. UA was set up as a Caricom mechanism to create integration, right? And we're kind of going backwards on that. I mean, the best way to unify a country is through sex and marriage and everything, right? When people moving amongst them places, that's how you meet your partners and you get whatever. Everybody, UA is trying to do everything. So you're not moving the way we used to move. So we've gone backwards. Ironic that West Indies cricket was a Caricom we have in our worst period ever. It's ironic in our 50th year. It's almost, West Indies cricket is almost a reflection of Caricom. But the premise
it's still relevant.
It's very relevant.
But we have to look back at it.
Yeah, we need to, I mean, the doggedness, which, I mean, I've been to many Caricom meetings and I watch our ministers that suffer, right? If you want to learn how to say no, go to a Caricom meeting. That's what you walk away with. We'll agree to disagree. We'll come back to the next meeting. Next year, see you, whatever. But we don't, they don't make decisions. And then the problem in Caricom is that everybody...
We're kicking the can.
Yeah, the problem in Caricom, everybody has to agree. So whether you're a 100,000 person, you're a 3 million person, everybody has to agree for something to move forward. Not majority, no, everybody has to agree.
What you haven't said, which kind of upfront still, is the leaders. It's really the leaders of the different countries who really not taking this bold step to ensure that what we want is implemented, isn't it?
Yes, but the leaders also, they have to get, as I said, they have to get elected. And sometimes, there's an engineering principle, right? It's for a system to be optimal, there are some things that have to be suboptimal. Every country can be optimized. So therefore, somebody has to have the economic clout to make sure if I make a decision that will be negative for my country, there's a plug to fix that.
So is that one of the things, mechanisms that need to change? Instead of all of us agree, should majority rule?
It should be a coalition of the willing.
Gotcha.
And I mean, and right now, we should probably forget about having the 15 states agreeing and say, okay, me and you agree, so we're going to do this, we're going to do this. I land in Trinidad, and I'm using Trinidad because I go there. And I'm supposedly a significant person in Trinidad. I'm the CEO of one of the largest companies there. And every time I land, where you come for, where you going, who you going to see, how much day, when you leaving Friday? In the passport, Friday, right? You know? And I'm thinking, we can't move. No, according to an IMF study, does free movement of labor and people would unlock so much game within the region.
We have to go because we have to go for news. Good to see you. Great thoughts.
Thanks for having me, though.
Great thoughts. Sit with us for a second. He's the Chief Executive Officer of Separate and Bryden's group of companies, Mr. Richard Pandue. Still to come, Project Star JA talks about helping vulnerable communities. But before all of that, the second edition of News in 5 is up now. Stay with us, please. Soon come.